Y'all, the Acts 242 conference changed my heart. That is how the conference impacted me. And I'm going to try to walk that out. I'm going to try to explain that. But if there is one thing I know that the conference did for me, it changed my heart. It felt like after the conference, I had a heart that was like, that felt like what God's heart would feel like. Now, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. My name's theTILAGO. If you're new around here, I talk about all things faith, the faith journey, and living in it on purpose. So you should subscribe so you can have more of that in your life. All right. So I know I've been missing for a little minute. I'll do another whole catch-up video. Really, I'm not apologizing because I've still been doing the things I feel like God has called me to do and been building. And so it's just that it has taken me away from YouTube for a little minute. But today, I really wanted to talk about Acts 242. Just a little recap of, what happened for me and what happened for like how the conference really impacted my life. I'm not really going to do a whole breakdown of like everything that happened at the conference. I might post a few clips and stuff to show you guys, but I'm not going to be like, hey, this person talked about this person talked about this. Well, I might do that a little bit, but I'm not going to like go down the list, because you also can go and watch all of the sermons and the panels and everything on Acts 242's YouTube channel, which I really do highly encourage you to do, especially if you were not there. I have not yet watched them back, y'all, because I'm still trying to soak up everything I could from hearing it the first time, to be real with y'all. But it was such a powerful conference. If you do not know what it was, Acts 242 was a discipleship conference that was hosted by can't get my words together. That was hosted by Megan Ashley and Jackie Hill Perry in Atlanta, and it was everything and more. It was the best conference I've ever been to, and I will say that hands down. And I think it was that way because God was actually the center. He was actually the focus. It was not focused on me. It was focused on God and seeing Him rightly, and just like living our lives in the way that He's calling us to live them and being the people He's called us to be. So that is who. What in the... Okay, anyway, that was the conference. Let me get in the house, and then... No, I'm gonna talk to y'all right here in the car, actually. I'm gonna talk to y'all in the car, in the driveway, because that's how I'm feeling this morning. So, basically, let's see, where do I start? So, what did the conference do for me? How did the conference impact me? Y'all, the Acts 242 conference changed my heart. That is how the conference impacted me. And I'm going to try to walk that out. I'm going to try to explain that. But if there is one thing I know that the conference did for me, it changed my heart. It felt like after the conference, I had a heart that was like, that felt like what God's heart would feel like. Now, it's not all the way, but I'm saying like, I really do love what He loves, and I really do hate what He hates right now. And I have more compassion. I have more, like, I can feel more, and I have to give it to the conference. Like, that's when it happened. So, okay, I have to give y'all some kind of like backstory context, right? So before the conference, where was I at? Spiritually, I was feeling kind of like burnt out and empty. Like, I was feeling like, man, God, like, I feel like I'm doing everything You're calling me to do. I'm building what You're calling me to build. I'm digging into, intimate moments with You. I'm spending time with You. I'm reading Your word. I'm praying. I'm showing up for people and serving. I'm doing all these different things. And yet I still feel like I don't sense You. I don't feel You. And I think that is a, byproduct of when we're doing things not full. I wouldn't necessarily say, and maybe I was about to say doing things apart from God, which I really don't think that I was. I just think that I was doing a lot of things. I was prioritizing a lot of things more than I was prioritizing just spending time with Him. So I was prioritizing the things that He had given me to steward and to do and to have and all the things, but I wasn't really stewarding my time with Him, my relationship with Him. And honestly, I wasn't stewarding it, I think, in the way that I wanted to, or the way that He would call us to, because I was getting really discouraged, because I was getting really tired of showing up to moments of sitting in prayer with Him and sitting and reading His word and all the things and not sensing or feeling anything. Now, I grew up in church. I have, been a part of the church all my life, except for, the years where we, which I probably need to talk about on this channel at some point, but the years where I was away. Okay. And so I'm saying all that to say that, like, and I have been someone who has, given sermons and led Bible studies and led small groups, all these different things. And I'm saying all that to say that I know that a mature believer doesn't stop digging into time with God and relationship, the pieces that grow their relationship with God just because they don't feel him or just because they don't sense that he's near. I know that a mature believer does that. So when I say that I was just getting discouraged, like I knew that I was putting drops in the bucket of like spending time with him. I knew that it was still doing something in me. It was just really frustrating, honestly. Like it just felt really, again, emptying and felt really like it just wasn't it, right? And so, I was feeling, I remember having conversations with one of my friends before I went to the conference. Like this was like a few weeks before it. And I was talking to her about how I was so like encouraged and inspired by her, her faith and her journey at the moment. But I also was just feeling like, what am I supposed to do with that? Because she was feeling very like, just really like leaning into her time with God and digging in and, falling more in love with him and like all these things. And I was like, I'm out here not feeling that. And so I'm like, what am I doing wrong? What's the problem? All these things. Now I came to the conclusion before I went to the conference. Well, I came to a conclusion. I don't know if it's one God wanted me to come to, but the conclusion that, that he was just pulling me deeper. He has me now leading this large community here in the city. And that meant that, yes, absolutely. It was going to require more of me, right? Like my capacity is increasing, but as my capacity increases, as our capacity increases, as he increases our capacity, he also is going to increase the amount of time that he needs with us, like just me, he and me, right? And so I think that he was just trying to show me like, hey, and this has happened to me before. I've gone through the ebbs and flows of our, of the journey, and I know I'll probably be here again at some point, but I knew that he was calling me to deeper depths. I knew he was calling me and saying like, hey, the things that were working before for you to like sense me and dig in and lean in to our relationship, like you have to do something different now. I'm calling you to do something different so that we can continue to develop this intimacy that you need with me, right? And so I'm giving you that backstory because that is how like my heart really was starting. Honestly, now I'm finding the words, like my heart was really starting to be hardened, and really starting to be, again, discouraged and just frustrated. So I was really, really, really looking forward to the conference, and I went with two of my cousins, one from my mom's side, my sissy, one from my dad's side, Slim, my like right hand sidekick, and then one of my good friends, Alexis. And so we're in the car, and I could just feel like all of us were just really excited, right? We were just really ready for the conference, and ready to sense what God was going to do, and ready to experience him, and all really ready to go see what it meant for a conference to really be focused on God, right? So when we got there, I was just so excited. Also, if you didn't know, I lived in Atlanta for 5 years. And so I really was excited to get back to the city. I knew I wasn't going to have time to see people. I knew I wasn't going to have time to like parlay and move around the city, but it's just something. I know that Atlanta got some kind of stronghold on it. I know it does, but I love the city. I do. I don't know if I'll ever move back there because I was ready to come home, but I really did love the city of Atlanta. I met some of my closest friends there. I grew in my faith. I grew the most that I've ever grown in my faith in Atlanta. I really discovered more of who I was in Atlanta. Like, it's a lot of stuff that happened in Atlanta that I'm really grateful for. And so it's just always good to be back. And I hadn't been back in a while. So anyway, I was excited to be back in the city. And so when we got to the conference, like, it's almost like you could just feel, I could definitely just feel the presence of God. Like, first of all, I could feel the hunger and the thirst of the people showing up, right? Just wanting more of God, just wanting to know, like, what is he about to do? My heart is ready. My mind is open. I'm ready to see what you're going to do, right? And so I just remember like feeling that when I got there. And side note, everybody was looking so dope. Like, everybody had their own little swag style. I could just sense and feel that like, this was one of those conferences where it didn't feel like people were like, oh, I got to put on the best because I'm trying to impress everybody in the room. Like, and maybe some people were rocking like that. I don't know. But for me, this conference felt more like, hey, I'm going to put on what I normally wear. I'm going to be chilling. And I'm not here to impress. I'm not here to show you what I look like. I'm not here for none of that. I'm here to come and glorify God and learn about being a better disciple. Like, that's what I felt like. So it was really good in that sense. Like, I felt all of that. I could feel, it definitely felt like they just went through the room praying. Other side note, the church was humongous. Okay, that church was huge. I forget the name of it now. First Baptist something, Woodstock, maybe? I don't know. That church was humongous. Okay. It was a beautiful venue, beautiful church. There was just so many good things I could say about just like the atmosphere, about how God set that atmosphere up and how he showed up. And so the moments where I started to feel my heart change, like that's what I need to talk to y'all about. Cause like I said, I'm not going to give you a rundown of like who spoke, what they spoke about, all that. Like, please go watch the sermons, and watch the panels. But so the first moment I felt like during Dr. Sharita's, messages, he was, well, actually back up. 2819 worship squad. Yeah. Them folk is like that. Okay. Them folk is like that because the way they popped up on that stage and I just felt the spirit and glory of God just fall. Like, I'm not even joking, y'all. Like, they were really, really, really good. Really, I could feel like surrendered hearts. I could feel like their focus was really on God, and not on themselves. And the way they came out exhorting, like they didn't even come out addressing the crowd really. It's like they came out and they were just like, okay, I'm talking to God. I'm going to God. I'm going before his throne and I'm going to worship him. And that's what we doing. So if y'all coming, y'all coming. If y'all not, y'all not. And that's what happened. And it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. They are a very anointed worship team. I am now hooked. I still got the song stuck in my head. Before I even started recording this, I was singing some of I know they were singing, covering songs, but like I was singing some songs that they were singing at the conference that have been stuck in my head ever since. But I really, really, really enjoyed seeing the hearts of seeing their hearts and seeing how they worship and how they lead worship. It was so amazing. Then Dr. Sharita Lions was the first speaker. So she got up and y'all, just all throughout her message, I felt like God was stripping me of everything that I might have been trying to like put in front of me to hide from him or to hide from people. Like I felt like she was stripping me of everything I maybe was holding on to that I thought was like giving people a picture of like, not necessarily perfect, but that was giving people this picture of me that maybe I felt like showed them I was a better, I don't know, like just that I was doing better than I was in my walk. That's what I feel like. And so I feel like she just stripped me down and I couldn't grab for a leaf. Okay. Adam and Eve. I couldn't grab for a leaf, couldn't grab for nothing to try to cover myself back up. Like I just felt like she stripped me down. And so I already started to feel my heart like just be like, pricked for everything that she was saying. Then Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell got up there. Y'all already know how he do. He don't come. If she came out swinging, he came out shooting. So if I'm already swung on and stripped, he came out just like, just shooting, and reloading. They both was just like, reload, pow, 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 reload, pow, 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 pow. Now I know gun references. I'm sorry. I apologize, but that's what it felt like. Like spiritual guns was getting shot up at us and we needed them. That's what it felt like. We needed them. So in his message, I remember again, just feeling like, wow, okay, if she just stripped me of everything that, I felt like was helping me to hide, I feel like he now just like put me in a prime position to look at God, to look at Jesus and to really say, woe is me, to stop being like, entitled to sense that like, oh, I'm supposed to feel God every time I spend time with him, or I'm supposed to this, like I deserve. No, God is holy. And even if I thought I knew that, and understood that concept, there was just some way about how God used him and what God spoke through him that just hit me in a different way this time. And so he had an altar call after his moment. And that was the actual moment that I felt like, okay, this is another time where I feel like God is like really changing and transforming my heart. And so I felt like in that moment that he did, I felt like he literally like took my heart and was just like squeezing it. He was just like squeezing everything out of it and just like, man, it was just good. He was just like squeezing. Yeah, that's what it felt like. And so I was just on the floor weeping in the aisle, weeping, repenting, yearning for more of him, asking him to just like come, asking him to show up, asking him to just be present, and for me to not miss him in that, in this conference, and for me to not miss him in my life anymore, and for me to not miss what he wanted to do. So that was how I was feeling like, woo, that's how I was feeling the first day. already felt like my heart was different and changed and transformed. And so then second day, I feel like, again, worship came and cut up, and just all throughout this day, it was more like the building up day. So they're trying to like equip us with tools and stuff that we need in order to leave this place and still go back into our lives and actually, like, again, live our lives, live our lives well, do our walks, walk out our faith well, and be good disciples and those who others can be discipled by, right? So I just felt like, man, I don't even know if I have words, like other words for, like, the second day just like really equipped us. And it was really dope how they, taught. Jackie comes up, teaches us how to read a Bible. Preston comes up, teaches us how to, face persecution, but still evangelize and still talk about Jesus. They talked about community on a panel. They talked about the state of the American church on a panel. And I just loved, like, being able to hear them and being able to like hear their hearts and hear the truth that they were, like, hear their boldness, right? And how they were not afraid to speak the truth and not afraid to, cut through some really hard spaces and things in that room. They were not afraid. And I loved it. I loved every moment of it. And so, okay, heart change. Every sermon was like, I just felt if my heart got squeezed out the first day of, like, things that didn't need to be there, if I'm like, search my heart, Lord, please make me clean, purify me, right? Like, he found all the unclean ways in me and was just like squeezing them out. All the pride, all the frustration that I was feeling, all the bitterness, all the anger, all those things that I didn't even realize were in there. He was just squeezing them out. And then the second day was just like filling them back up, like, with his heart, pouring in the things that matter to him in my heart. And I'm saying all this because, y'all, I cried so much, like, during the conference that, like, not this bus not knowing how to, God bless him. Okay, anyway, I just felt like, yeah, he was just filling my heart up with things that, again, he was filling my heart up to love what he loved and to hate what he hates. And so I just was crying so much at the conference. I was so, like, just vulnerable, I felt like, in his presence. And I didn't care that there were 7,000 other people around me. Like, I just was like, this is me and God. I don't care what y'all think. I don't care what y'all say. I'm going to jump up and down and praise him, which I already be doing. I'm going to cry my eyes out and repent. I'm going to cry my eyes out and, like, show him, like, just pour out the oil, like, just pour it out on you, because I am so in love with you and I'm falling even more in love with you here. Right. And so it was just such a good conference. So now after the conference, I skipped over a lot of parts, y'all, but everybody did well. Dr. Eric Mason, John Bevere, everybody. Okay. So, excuse me. Now, when I went to, or after the conference, y'all, probably was crying for like 3 days. Like, I couldn't pull out of the conference. Now, I didn't want to. So I was trying to figure out and ask God, like, how do I go back to living my life, but yet still, like, keep this, like, let this be a slow burn, because I don't want it to just, like, fizzle out really fast and all the things. So when I say I just kept having a heart that was so, like, I don't know, like, I could just feel more. I could just feel I could feel how God, and still can feel how much God loves us and feel how much he wants relationship with us and wants intimacy with us. But I can also feel, I can also feel how hurt he is by the things that are hurting us, how hurt he is by the things that are hurting his church, but how hurt he is by how deceived his children are and how ignorant they've been to, to who he is and to, what the enemy is really trying to do in their lives. Like, I could just feel all of that. And so I could just, like, as I'm in conversation with people, I'm like, if it's conversation that don't, like, that isn't just, like, uplifting him or just, like, seeing him rightly, my heart just, like, aches and feels like, what are we doing here? Like, and I've been in some conversations lately where I'm like, where is God in this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where is God in this? And how can I bring him into this? Because what are we talking about? Or, like, even just at work, I just be like, what, Lord, help me see how this matters. Now, I know it matters because you got me here, but help me to see, help me to be the light, the salt and the light of the earth for real here. Like, how do I do that? And so anyway, I've just had such a, like, softened heart, and I feel like it is full of the things that it is full of like the type of heart that I need to, I don't know. Like, it just feels like a heart that God put there. And I might have thought that I had a heart God put there before, but no, now I really feel like God has put his heart in me. And I feel like he just, of course, is continuing to develop that and to help me to understand what I'm feeling and help me to understand how he feels about things and how he's making me feel about things. But it's just so amazing. And so, one very prime example, and then I'm gonna hop off of here because we already been talking for 20 minutes. Very prime example. So like I said, I lead a very new, very fresh community here in the city. And so we came back on Friday night, and I was supposed to, or no, Saturday night, and I was supposed to have Bible study. We were having virtual Bible study that Monday. Now, when I got back Sunday morning, or I woke up Sunday morning, I didn't go to church. I just felt like God was like, just sit with me. And I did. I sat and I read his word. I drank my coffee, and I was just still so overwhelmed. And I just feel like he was just doing work, man, just still doing work. And so I got to the point where I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to, like, I really felt like, woe is me. Like, who am I to be trying to lead a Bible study? You know, like, again, and I feel like a part of that, yes, was like the lies of the enemy. Like, who are you to be trying to lead a Bible study? But I also felt the like holiness part of like, all right, are you sure? Like, you supposed to be doing this, you know, like just checking everything in my life again. And so I remember I was sitting and I texted my core girls and I was like, hey, y'all, like, please pray that I have clarity, because I really feel like we're not supposed to do the Bible study tomorrow. I feel like I just need to sit with God. I feel I'm tired. I feel like I don't know what I'm going to say. I know I said we were going to talk about this one topic, but I don't know how to talk about that right now because that's not where I'm at, you know, all these things. And it's funny because one of my friends, I don't know if she's going to watch this, but one of my friends had posted about being at the conference, and I didn't know she was there. There were a whole bunch of people I didn't know were there that I wanted to see or would have loved to see. But anyway, one of my friends posted about being at the conference, and I didn't know she was there. So I commented on her post, and I was like, oh man, I would have loved to like sing you there. We got to get together while we're in the city. Like, or I say while we're in the city, she lives here too. I was like, we got to get together now that we're in the city, you know, all the things when we get back. And she was like, you know, absolutely, like, all these things. And then she was like, when I get back, I have to be a part of the community. I'm getting on Bible study tomorrow night. And I was like, okay, God, I heard you. So don't cancel it. Don't cancel it. I won't. I got you. Right. And so, and I don't even know if she was on that night, but I do know that even her just commenting that back to me was God's answer for me to like, keep pushing, keep going, even as you feel tired, even as you feel like you are not qualified for this and to do this, like keep going. And so I said, okay, God, well, you got to tell me what we're going to talk about. Like, what do you want the ladies to know? Right. And I just started weeping because I felt like God said, I just really need them to know how much I love them. That's it. I just really need them to know how much I love them, how deep my love is for them, how much I love them in spite of their flaws, their mistakes, their disappointments, their mess ups, their hiccups, their turnaways. Like, I love them in spite of all of those things. And we were talking about forgiveness. That's the topic that I was like, how do I talk about this? And we were talking about forgiving yourself. And I felt like God was saying the reason that, or one of the reasons that a lot of these women are having trouble forgiving themselves for their past mistakes and things like that is because they don't understand how much I love them and how much I have forgiven them of and how much grace I have for them. Yes, I absolutely want them to live lives that are pleasing and holy and acceptable unto me. And in that, I want them to know that they can keep moving forward even when they make mistakes. All I'm asking them to do is repent. Ask me, you know, come to me with those things. Come to me with your mistakes and your hurts and your disappointments and your downfalls. But don't like try to go and fix it yourself. Like, come and bring it to me so we can keep going because I love you still. Right. And so that's what we did. But I just started weeping because I could feel how much he loved his daughters. I could feel how much he loved the women that were going to be on the call the next night. And so we I'm not even doing that justice, y'all. But that moment, like, I probably was weeping for like 30 minutes to an hour, just like I was like, okay, God, like, I'm trying to write down everything you're saying. So we sat on one verse and we just talked about how the verse is in Isaiah. Wow. How is it in Isaiah? Ezekiel or Ezekiel? I'm gonna put it up on the screen because I know me that I get in this space right here. See, this is where I'd be like, God, am I qualified to be doing this? But the verse says, I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have drawn you with unfailing kindness. And this really is a moment where God is speaking through. No, I'm talking about Isaiah and Ezekiel. This is Jeremiah. Okay. This is Jeremiah. We were in a verse in Jeremiah. I think it's 31. Nope. I think it's, 31 and 3, 30 and 3, 31 and 3, I think. But it is when God says, I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have drawn you with unfailing kindness. And it is when God is speaking through Jeremiah to tell the Israelite people who have not been acknowledging him, who have not been living for him, who are not deserving of it, after they've been in exile, that he's telling them, hey, now I'm going to show you that I'm going to bring you back, and I'm going to show you just how much I love you still. Right. And so, I was using that, to show us that, like, if he can love these Israelite people, like, and if he's saying that his love is unending, it's unfailing, it's everlasting, it doesn't stop, it doesn't give up. And then he's saying that he keeps drawing them with this kindness, and he's not forcing them, he's drawing them. He's like, if all of these things, if this is the way that he's treating these people, yes, like, first you need to see him, right? So first you need to see, this is something Jackie taught us, and it's something that I've heard her say before, but just loved it, how you read the word Christocentrically. You read it looking for God or looking for Jesus first. And so she was taught, so in this verse, we look for Jesus first, and I was like, this is just him showing us how much he loves us. Like, it's that simple. This is how much he loves us in spite of all the mess. And so I said, okay, if he could love these people in spite of all of this, you can now put yourself in there and say, okay, I have been that Israelite people. I've been the one who hasn't acknowledged him with my life. I've been the one who hasn't done everything he's told me to do. I've been the one who's turned away from him in many different ways, but yet he still loves me. And so he's just asking me to come back, turn back to him, acknowledge him. Right. And so I just thought that was so, like, it was just so good. And because that was what God wanted to say. And we got on the call. It went well. I cried a lot trying to pray, like, just couldn't get through prayers. But then we got on to this is the first time that I had women stay on if they wanted more prayer. Like, if they wanted to pray after with some of our ladies from the core, that I asked them to stay on the prayer call or stay on the call till after. And the amount, y'all, of, like, vulnerability, the amount of, like, freedom that I believe Jesus was trying to allow people to experience on just that part, like, afterwards, I cannot explain it. I can't explain it. The women were so open to share what they were dealing with and what they needed prayer for. Just amazing. God is amazing, right? And so I've been talking for a long time, but I just want to say, even after that, even now we're like 3 weeks out from the conference, and my heart still feels the same. I still can read his word and just weep. And with tears of joy and tears of the pain and the sadness, I still can look at his people and have conversations with people and just be like, man, God loves you. Like, I still can just, like, I just sense him now, and I'm not doing things in a legalistic way, like trying to, like, read his word and be in his presence and stuff in legalistic ways. Again, these are all things that I already knew before I went to the conference, but they've become even more real now that, I went, and I feel like it's because he did some work in me at the conference, and he's continuing to do work in me. So listen, if you didn't go to the conference, watch the sermons, watch the videos, watch the worship, watch it all, take notes on it all, because it is like what God did there is such a gift. It is such a gift. And I truly believe that he can still do it in your home, in your car, in your space, wherever you listen to it, even if you weren't present. And if you were present, what up, 7,000? I really hope and pray that you are still sensing and feeling God in your life, and sensing and feeling him doing more in you, and him pulling more out of you and pushing you into more, and that you are being obedient. You're obeying what he's asking you to do, that you're not trying to shy away from things, that you're not trying to back down, that you are facing the persecution, you are facing the opposition, that you are remembering who he is. You are seeing him seated on the throne. You are remembering that you are the remnant. You are remembering that you are the one that he has called to do the thing that he's called you to do. You are remembering that no matter what happens in this world and in this life, because we are living in a crazy time right now, no matter what happens in this world and in this life, God is still seated on the throne. God is still in control. God is still sovereign. His will is still being done because he is in control. So God is still good. He loves you fully and immensely, no matter what you've done. He wants a relationship with you no matter what you've done. And so I pray that you are encouraged to like turn back to him. I pray that you are encouraged to want to know more of him. I pray that no matter how long you've been walking with him, that now you're like, you're able to see him in a different way, and you're able to unlearn some things that you don't, or unlearn some things that are not him and learn new things, that you're open to him coming in and changing and transforming your heart and your mind, that you're open to him coming and doing whatever he wants to do in your life. Like, God has so much for us in terms of so much for us to do, so much for us to be, to represent him on this earth. So many more things that we have, on our journey, that he's placed on our journey for us. But we have to lean in. Like, we have to lean into him in order to see them all. We have to see him rightly so we can see ourselves rightly and see the world rightly. And we like, the only way to do that is like, we have to lean in. You have to lean in. And so I just pray that how he changed and transformed my heart. And those of you who actually know me know that I'll be like, when I say I feel so much more able to be vulnerable, able to cry, able to feel those emotions that maybe I tried to shy away from before, sadness and like sadness, sadness and pain and all that. Like, now I lean into it because I'm like, God is trying to do something here, And anyway, I just hope that you got something out of this video, especially if you listen to the whole thing. He did a work. He's doing a work. He's raising up his sons and daughters. He's pulling us and pushing us into things that, that he knows that we need and that the world needs. He's put things in you that he needs now. It's time for us to stand up. I've been telling my women this, all, the ladies that are part of the community, like, it's time to get up, stand up. You have been crawling for long enough. You have been sitting for long enough. You have been oppressed for long enough. Get up. Okay. Like, the time is now to get up and to be the woman that God has called you to be the man that God has called you to be, because there's so much more on this earth for us to do. There's so many more ways that we are to represent him, that there's so much more potential that he has placed inside of us. We've got to lean into it, y'all. We have to, because the world needs it. The world needs it, and the world needs it now. There's urgency. I say that all the time. There's urgency with you standing up and being who God has called you to be. So be obedient. Listen to God. Lean into your moments with him. And I pray that he reaches you. I pray this video reached you in some kind of way. But I'm done talking now, y'all. Hope you enjoyed it. Like the video if you did. Comment down below if you were at the conference or if you watched the videos and have been impacted in any way. I want to know. And yeah, that's it. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.